you know, I don't think you're bad people, but you're being bad. You're behaving poorly. You're hurting people.
I mean, go back to the civil rights.
Yep.
You think that the people who are like the white kids who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were just like not risking anything? Those kids who are marching with the black students and...
I love that he can't even come up with specifics to this example. Just generic, you know, civil rights movement. When like the white people were like the good guys and like helping the black people, you know, those moments, I'm sure I could think of a single example. Someone did that. Either way, but you know when that happened? Yeah, that we're basically like that. So this is going to be interesting. Two of the biggest heavyweights of the old internet, Web 1.50. We got iDubbbz, someone who has begun, I would say in the past year, a bit of an arc to undo some of the damage a lifelong career of, you know, pretty intense, horrifying racism and homophobia wrought upon the world. He said at a certain point he was tired of fans saying the N-word to him when they saw him and realized he was doing something wrong at that point and has begun trying to undo some of the damage. Along the way, he's also started the very popular Creator Clash series where content creators get to battle one another in the ring. Instead of in the intellectual titan heavyweight zone of the high IQ debate. And then we got H3H3, who also started an arc to become a better person after Black Lives Matter, the second movement, and started, you know, checking his privilege and then eventually learning to lean a little more left and collaborated with Hassan. That was also a thing that happened. And they were making the leftovers, and you could really see him start to enhance his SOCDEM powers around that time. And then, of course, they have fallen out quite aggressively. I would say due to what is known, I believe, technically or medically, sorry, it's a medical term, crashing out. Ethan has been crashing out hard until he eventually got to the point where he ended up making the content nuke on Hassan, which both is, I guess you could call it internet drama and also pretty strong propaganda for an act of genocide that is happening to Palestinians right now by regurgitating a lot of the same talking points. So again, two old people on different quests battling each other in an arena here live on the return of Content Cop. If you don't know Content Comp, like, if you're ever wondering what all these terms mean, if you're like, sorry, Content Nuke, Content Cop, a measured response, like these are basically, or Destiny calls them manifestos, these are names that different massive creators have given to their own specific genre of the takedown. They're all the takedown. Every single one is a different variation on the takedown. You're taking down someone on the internet. You're doing it through your own personal style. I'm personally not a big fan of the Content Cop, just the genre, you know, because, you know, ACAB at the end of the day, that includes the Content Cop. It includes RoboCop and the Content Cop. I don't know if this is going to be redemption for the Content Cop.
The beach is surprisingly dangerous. Consider the thing in our defense, like, actually Hila's not a baby killer. Actually accusing Ethan of killing his dog is maybe too far, because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group that anybody who says any fucking thing, they will attempt to ruin their lives. And once again, I'm the crazy one. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people.
What we do here is go back.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan, Piker, and this is the Hasan broadcast coming to you live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I've finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's content nuke, and I'm not going to call it context puke as I normally do because...
Why not? It's just petty enough. I like it.
Reality of the matter is, it was brilliant. Nothing was...
Oh, this seems like a deceptive edit. I was going to say you could have gone with content poop. Who would have seen that one come in? You know? Now that's Elon Musk tier.
Was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the content nuke. And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How? Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is no longer a dream. This is a dream. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
What? No way. I didn't know this happened. Oh my. All right. Things have been kicked up a notch. We got guest stars.
Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up. Seems anyone? Just wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
Oh my god. Holy shit. This is fun. I mean, I don't even know where this is going yet. We're only 3 minutes in, and I'm already, I'm pretty excited.
I'm not going to do a react content yet, chat.
I'm the same. Nobody's telling you to wake up, Ethan.
Ooh, yummy. I love Sabra hummus.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
Wake up.
Just wake up.
So I assume Ethan is having a watch party at some point today or tomorrow, right? Just, I can already see him being furious. And nothing's even happened yet. This is just the intro.
All right. I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hassan Piker. Content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan. He's the one who fucking attacked first.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a story about Ethan Klein. I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast, with what's been going on over the past couple of years. So Ethan, as you know, is a content creator who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucked up. He's had shows with all sorts of different controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hassan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in his podcast with Hassan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers, you trans women. I say, oh no!
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hassan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
Palestinian people living in the West Bank are subject to these horrific conditions, horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, the dance he invented was so kick-ass.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that may be a war crime. It literally is.
It's just eating the toppings. And the pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all...
I love this. So this is what is, I am assuming the exact same air date, what they were both talking about at the time.
Disgusting.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 2021.
Why?
It's insensitive to burn victims.
I think it's a good analogy. It's a powerful image.
Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine, you know? We don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic. Ethan was obviously caught in this tricky situation where he is extremely sympathetic to the Israeli cause and what's happening to them. His wife's Israeli, she served in the IDF. He obviously likes the state of Israel. On the other hand, he's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hasan. Hasan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into. So when they see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're gonna call it out.
From the river to the sea essentially means the state of Israel is going bye-bye.
So this massive progressive audience that Ethan has, adopted over the years, they're becoming increasingly critical of his position because now he's talking about it not on Leftovers, he's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that. When you listen to Hasan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super racist, crazy, like Jim Crow style of society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, Bibi fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with
Glon.
his liberal audience,
War criminal.
leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hasan, all of these different people. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits, and everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently. Even though he looks like Millhouse, fucking dork.
Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful, fucking... And I'll say it and I'll double down on it. And people... Oh, no?
No,
not go there?
And it's all culminated, at least for my story, in Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hasan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way in the form of Hassan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this stupid. It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. And also he's way out of my weight class.
He didn't like that, but fucking sometimes you gotta just throw something out there. I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because he was in the circles online that I was in. And one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content, he liked Ethan's content, until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed, my old friend. Some wings are too bird feathered colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year. Now, my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the C word. He said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese and a bunch of other shit, I'm sure. Ethan, at some point, discovers that iDubbbz former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking the question, where...
Okay, so I saw some of that drama going down in the background, and I wasn't entirely sure what to make of it. I didn't know that it was iDubbbz editor, so now I'm getting the dots way more connected.
Where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem if Ethan was discovering this content by scrolling through Twitter looking for something to upset himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need to send him this information. And that would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't fucking trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovery?
That's so true, by the way. Because it is like a cyclical thing. I find a lot of the people who are completely obsessed with other figures, often the people who are obsessed with Hasan, usually specifically, whether it's Ethan or Destiny, so much of it is like you are feeding this endless cycle where your fans want to send you all these clips to get you to react to them and be like, doesn't this make you mad? Because it makes them mad. And then you get angrier and then you get them to think like, oh, wow, daddy's really angry. We got to give him more fuel. But you're really just like making their mind more poisoned all the time because all day, every day, they're just like, oh, I can't believe I saw this. I can't believe he said that. I can't believe this happened. I'm so angry.
Covering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit when there's no work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place. If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's an account whose intention is to make Ethan crash out. One of the users on the Snark Reddit points this out. They're like, I've seen this account before. This account has scraped its history and it's now trying to make Ethan burn bridges. This is within Ethan's own community. Like, this is the thing that he needs to be critical of. It's not me. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty, uncharitable, and fucked up.
I don't know if it's as like Alex Jonesy as there's actually some going on behind the scenes, but it does feel as if there's like certain people trying to specifically on the behalf of other communities do like different forms of, I don't even think it's operational security, but just like instigation. Get like other people to like stay angry. We need to cut ties. Sever ties. They're too strong between Hasan and Ethan.
Up towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter. But Ethan and Hila are doing the same shit on their podcast. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
Terrorist supporter.
The CEO of Twitch.
Pedophile.
Now I'm going to watch and respond to the two podcast streams where Ethan and Hila call us spineless cowards.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's like a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and iDubbbz feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening? For all you know, I only use the For You tab. For all you know, I only use lists. For all you know, I'm seeing these things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not gonna throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment. Just like I'm not going to throw Ethan Klein away because he's having a parasocial weird crash out.
How many women I fucked? Hasan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry. Oh my.
Wait, sorry, what? What was that from? Bro, it's totally true. He's fucked a lot of people.
God. Hasan's the type of dude who looked...
The brain domain! Thank you for the raid! Hello, Raiders. Can everyone go to twitch.tv/the brain domain? Give the brain domain a follow back. If you're just tuning in, we're watching the brand new Content Cop that just got released on H3H3, and it's the first intersection between, I'd say, hardcore politics and internet drama. Horrifying reality. Like, I've said it before, Black Mirror has nothing on the real world. I know everyone's like, the new season of Black Mirror is pretty crazy, right? Yeah, I mean, it looks happier than anything we're doing. Like, looks happier than actual real life. I kind of feel right now that like it would actually be kind of nice if we had some little device that was just like the size of a jelly bean, and I could put it on the side of my head, and then I could go inside photos, and then I could look and relive old memories from the past. That sounds fun. That looks neat. That looks like a cool thing to happen. Instead of having these AI systems that are used to track when fathers will be home so they can do the optimal forms of mass murdering entire families. called Where's Daddy, that's the real reality of the world we live in. So no, I would prefer Black Mirror, actually. That seems like they've actually advanced a little bit further past whatever we're up to right now, which did lots of fucked up shit and suffering. Thanks, Brain Domain. Everyone go to twitch.tv/brain.
Watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, that's what I'm. Wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure, who have unfollowed you for the things that you've said and done. And I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away because they've had some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless, I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life. It's that people outside of this group, journalists, creators, are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting at here. Like, yeah, people are gaslighting you. A lot of people gaslit me when I apologized. That was actually like the #1 type of harassment I got, was people gaslighting me and taking my newfound woke ideology to its extreme.
I've probably done and stood by iDubbbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought...
By the way, that's pretty wild, because if you don't know the context of that, he essentially was one of those early YouTube superstar edgelords, and edgelord short for racist, homophobe assholes. You know, just doing sketch after sketch that was just like, you know, tons of N-words being dropped, lots of fucking homophobic tropes, doing all that for like young teenage boys who'd be like, whoa, this is crazy. You can't see this on TV. This iDubbbz guy is hilarious. Now I'm going to watch Filthy Frank. Now I'm going to watch Ethan Klein. Like, they were all from the same era. Some of them, I guess, grew up or wanted to grow up and were kind of like, hey, by the way, I just want to sincerely apologize for what I did in the past. That shit was fucked up. I should not have been doing that. Shouldn't have been making content. It was not okay then. It's not okay now. Honestly, if I could change it, I would, you know, kind of shit. And then having the backlash to that suddenly being like, oh, this is because you got the woke mind virus. You've been infected by the DEI, so now you CRT when you virtue signal you're SJWing. And you're just like, Jesus, this is outrageous. So you can't even try to be a better person, or you're cucked by the mind virus. That's the world we live in. Great. So just a lot of people now have more incentivization to not want to actually become better people and stop being racists. You know, a thing that I would say white people should do.
This up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing. I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
Could you not say something when this is like, imagine like one of you guys is like, Hasan actually wants to go to Gaza so he can strangle Israeli babies or some shit like that. I'd be like, you imagine me not saying something.
You're trying to make a one-to-one comparison where there isn't one. This guy that I follow on Twitter is not in the same relationship as you and one of your current employees who is streaming with you 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for the past 10 years. At one point during the stream, Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does basically the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty towards them.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear.
That guy is a piece of shit, like, of the lowest order. I never even stood by him when he talked bad about Trisha having a kid and called him like the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our side. I would never even co-sign that. I was disgusted by that statement too. I remember when he called her kid the spawn of.
Wasn't Adam McIntyre involved with the ukulele lady? Am I misremembering that somehow? I think like one of the victims that she was preying on.
Satan.
I never said anything.
And
like
I was
that.
supposed to be like cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's disgusting.
Why do we forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of Satan?
It's disgusting. It's a piece of shit of a human.
It's just incredible who.
Yeah, one of the people groomed by her. That's right. That's also extra like fucking weird that they would just be going after Adam McIntyre and then being like, oh, fucking yeah, he's the lowest scum.
That being the good guys in this story, you know, it's really something.
Unfortunately, they never made a statement. They never said that they disagree with his statements about Trisha's baby until it's useful. Like, what is it, 3 years later? Like, I mean, you're talking about it like you were aware of it at the time and that there was some amount of pressure or enthusiasm for you to get down with that. And what it sounds like to me is that you did see it at the time and you were like, ooh, I don't like that. And you didn't endorse it and you didn't fuck with it. Huh. It's almost like that is a fucking identical situation to me.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story, you know? It's really something.
So yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they're trying to like paint themselves as the good guys and they're saying like, yeah, we strongly disavow things that are said, even about our enemies. We are the most immoral people on the internet. Unlike Ian and Anissa, who are fucking keeping to themselves. Also, why the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia. You're friends with him. And you don't have to say anything, but like, what a fucking piece of shit. What a bad friend to put you in that position just for some fucking clout. It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is...
This is just so manipulative, by the way. Just doing that right to an employee. Am I wrong? To just sit there and be like, I know you're friends, so I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I mean, surely this person was taking advantage of you. They really took advantage of you. You could practically say this was abused, right? You were abused. You're saying that you're abused. I think you don't have to say anything, but just you being here right now, you're basically acknowledging my statements. Yes, it's true. It happened, right?
Total bullshit, okay? Olivia did not do anything. And
I want the pass. Do I have to be an employee to get that treatment? Because then you'll just see me as an ally? Or is it because Ethan is afraid of wrongful termination accusations?
Try not to put you on the spot live on there. Yeah, no shit. Like, that's your employer. It's like just sitting there. It's like, yeah, I know we're live right now and you're on the record. And basically there are, what, 25,000 people watching us. That's like a stadium. Picture that in your mind's eye. Just seeing a giant stadium full of people all staring at you right now, waiting to hear what you're going to say. But pretty much it's pretty clear what happened, right? That at the end of the day, yeah, you were taken advantage of. I think that's what's happening here.
In lawsuits.
And also, I don't mind putting my friend Olivia, who's apparently my real friend, in a terribly weird, fucking uncomfortable situation where you end up getting hate for no reason.
Also, don't frame it as like other people making
That's
it.
also, yes. You mean the thing that you're doing right now? Are you just like signaling your intent? And I would really hate if there was a backlash against you from anybody for the things that you were clearly acknowledging really did happen and are real, right? Okay.
Hard on Olivia. You're making it hard on all of these people. Please acknowledge your role in this whole fucking thing. Like, it's crazy how warm Ethan is to Olivia and saying,
oh yeah,
how
he still gets like
Olivia's
20K.
essentially just a
He used to get
victim in
like
this whole
30,
thing.
so
it gets people
he's
angry at
lost a
you,
lot,
like,
but...
oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit.
But me and Anissa are spineless. Ethan, your whole system is scrambled. My intention isn't to throw the employees under the bus. Like, you guys serve as the fucking foundation for calling out Ethan's hypocrisy on the whole subject. And I know that you guys have probably pushed back against Ethan over the years. How often are you supposed to do that? Do you have to do that every fucking week? It kind of seems like it. And that's exhausting. I don't want to confront my boss. It's not my fucking job to confront my boss and say, today's segment on rapists and pedophiles on Twitch was not my favorite segment to be a part of.
Yeah, friends like these.
Oh yeah, and our other good friends.
Yeah.
Anissa and Ian. Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times, because, like, why would I not? It was crazy.
Yeah, why would you not? I mean, if that's truly what you believed and you weren't just going to use it later.
Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, please defend me. No, we're not gonna fucking defend you.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
Do we have that one?
mean,
Like just the other day, Bibi fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
He looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, it's not.
So yes.
Yeah, no, he's a horrifying war criminal. That's one of the people who was basically like, they are human animals and they will be treated as such. We are now going to be cutting them off from all food, water, medical supplies. Like, yes, that same dude. I remember when I first saw that clip, I was like, oh my God. The idea where you can keep downplaying the severity of what you are advocating for and being like, oh, no, I'm definitely not pro-genocide. I'm definitely not advocating, for politicians who have effectively done some of the worst parts in terms of their policy proposals. And the forced starvation of a population of half children is collective punishment by definition. There's a lot of biological warfare, bombing of hospitals, churches, mosques, like fucking hell, orphanages, a lot of orphanages. Yeah, just Jesus Christ. At this point, it would just be so weird to sit there and still try and push that same narrative.
You caught us. We're not gonna run to your defense when we follow people. We be following. That's one fucked up thing that you can say about Anissa and I is when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
So,
the problem.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know.
Yeah. Which I'll show. Denims is actually participating in this whole Child Protective Service lie.
Yeah.
Which I'll
and if
show
you're
you guys
friends with
today.
them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denims character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people. Kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core? People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know, I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me than the other.
I just don't see how you can be my friend and also be friends with someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way, where it's like, one of the friends doesn't fuck with the other friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of fucks with both of them.
You know what's funny is this reminds me of the original controversy surrounding ContraPoints getting one of her quotes read by Buck Angel, which I was like, yeah, that's very fair to critique. Buck Angel sucks. He's done a lot of terrible things. And then afterwards seeing like Philosophy Tube and H-Bomber Guy get like canceled by association. And I remember speaking out against that too, but I was like, but that's also ridiculous. I was like, at the end of the day, this was not H-Bomber Guy's doing, and they're friends, and I understand why someone would be like, yeah, I can disagree with something they've done in their totality. I'm not just suddenly going to be like, oh, I reject you. Kind of like at that point you're like, well, what are we doing here then? Why don't we just disconnect every single person who actually still likes ContraPoints as well then? Like, why don't we just go that far? We can take things even another step further. We can do it by association in totality. Like, I was just like, wait, what are we doing? Like, who's benefiting from this? I think it's better to put H-Bomber Guy and Philosophy Tube in a position where they are open to wanting to critique something bad or negative that a friend did. Like that would be better, right? That's a better situation than if you speak out in support of them in any way, shape, or form, you are now going to be destroyed.
Them but separately. Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that. I'm not gonna make you guys like meet up and kiss or anything. I get it. You guys are in fucking, you're either my best friend who's deep throating me to the base of my cock, or you are Satan. You're the devil.
The last thing I said to Anissa, we were texting before I ever talked about it. She's like, I don't care about this guy. He's a nobody. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, then you'll have no problem publicly denouncing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, the conversation ended.
She never replied.
Ethan, you can't even phrase it in a way that doesn't make you sound like you're being coercive and shitty. Well, then, you should have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? Does that sound like a friend? It kind of sounds like something a powerful villain would say.
But it was so funny how she immediately went to comment everywhere, like on our subreddit. She immediately had to comment like, oh, he doesn't work with us anymore.
Then
but that was it. That's all she said.
But then say that you don't
Okay, do you have
agree.
anything else to say for your friends, though?
One of the reasons Anissa was so quick to clarify things in your Reddit is because your Reddit was already talking about who this editor is, and they were spreading misinformation that it was our co-host on our podcast, Uncle Dane. So yeah, the last thing we wanted is this guy getting pulled into this mess, and you guys don't give a fuck. Would it have been nicer and more supportive to say, we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say. Our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out. And then maybe...
And also, don't start getting furious because of random Redditors in a subreddit. Like, dig deeper. Maybe look into, unless, like, in your heart, you really want to get mad about this. Unless part of you is like, yeah, no, I want to lose my shit. And so I just need a little bit of a reason. Oh, look at that. Random user 252211, Griper Daddy 52 is suddenly telling me that this is what they really think. I'm mad. I'm really pissed off.
We can find a moment in time, I don't know how long it'll be, but a moment in time in the future where things are a little bit easier to broach. I don't think we need to do it right now, but you've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice. I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not to do harassment campaigns and instead talk about Vampire's Kiss.
At least say something like, he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
She actually
thinks they have a point.
That's the problem.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit? Like, this is...
For Mesla, thank you for the rating party of 18. Can everyone go to twitch.tv/Fermesla? Give Fermesla a follow back. We're just watching the iDubbbz Content Cop show.
Nasty. We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens, and you're perpetuating it.
You fucking propagandist, lying scumbag, terrorist supporter. He probably sets up a mirror and jerks off what?
Jesus. And hey, by the way, if you said like 1/10 of any of this, they would come after you so hard. All right, like just brazenly sitting there like fucking propagandist, terrorist supporter, murderer, you murdered. And all of a sudden it's like someone could be like, I don't think y'all should be doing propaganda for genocide. Oh my God, what? God, this person literally has slaughtered children in their sleep. And you're like, Jesus, okay, all right. You're getting the Freddy Krueger accusations.
Watching himself. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite.
You can't expect other people to stop harassing you if you continue to harass people. Let's think about it on a micro level. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of like a line, what happened today, that should never be crossed, even by like the most cynical, toxic people. it's going to have ramifications in terms of how I conduct myself. In terms of these fair weather friends who are, you know, so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ethan, that is a rich thing to say. Like you're the H3 podcast, okay? There's a lot of friends of the show. There's even more fair weather friends of the show. Let's not get into this shit, okay? That is so bizarre and insulting to suggest that I was only ever being friends with you to get something out of it. No, I'm friendly with you, and I'd say I'm a light friend because it's been pleasant hanging out with you. I've enjoyed your content over the years, and as of late, it's gotten really fucking shitty.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Who else? Who else do we want to burn today?
Who else do we want to burn today? You're making it so fucking obvious that this is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are.
Fuck, that's so true. So much of this just could have been sorted with therapy. The two of you are so rich. You can hire one therapist each, and then you can have a couples therapist, and you could have gone through all of this and not have to do it in front of the eyes of the world. That would have been lovely. You should save people so much more time.
A way to approach this to say like, yeah, we feel hurt by you guys not saying something. You've decided to do the extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but I feel very insulted and I feel defensive and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you and a lot of people who have been on the receiving end of your harassment.
It's so easy to be anti-racist. Everybody's anti-racist. Racism is the worst thing in the world, right? We fucking hate racists. Fuck racists.
Microaggressions.
The minute that they actually have to stick their neck out for somebody, the minute they have to actually risk something to put themselves in under scrutiny, to sacrifice something personally to stand up for racism, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I don't want to get involved.
And that's drama.
How much do you care?
I don't do drama.
How much do you actually care? Isn't that the whole point? Like,
I realize that Ethan and Hila are more scared now than they've probably ever been. I feel like anti-Semitism is a thought in their heads now more than ever. And it's not completely unjustified to be thinking about that sometimes. You guys are just hurt and you're kind of like dancing around and making very like loose, poorly thought out analogies for something that doesn't even apply to us. It's like me making this video is the standing up for something and it's saying, fuck you, you guys are being bad. You know, I don't think you're bad people, but you're being bad. You're behaving poorly. You're hurting people.
I mean, go back to the civil rights.
Yep.
You think that the people who are like the white kids who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were just like not risking anything? Those kids who are marching with the black students and...
So in Ethan's
I love that he can't even come up with specifics to this example. Just generic, you know, civil rights movement. When like the white people were like the good guys and like helping the black people, you know, those moments, I'm sure I could think of a single example. Someone did that. Either way, but you know when that happened? Yeah, that we're basically like that.
Analogy, he's the black student and I'm the white student, but I'm the white student that's not, you know, marching by his side. I'm not doing the difficult thing. You're gonna have to march on your own, black student.
Marching with the black students and...
I mean, why is it inspiring? Why is it inspiring?
Well,
but also... Again, the most generic thing you could think of. Oh, look out, Academy. They're sweeping it this year. It's the story of one white child who decided to take a stand against racism. My God. Look, it's Whitey. He's standing up. He too is taking a stand. My God, it's called The Stand.
It's the same thing. Bring it back to Hassan just because, but it kind of is the same thing. Like I was thinking about going to Gaza until I found out it's dangerous. He's a total performative activist that doesn't give a single fuck.
Why do you keep doing that, by the way? That's also supremely fucked up. He doesn't want to die. I think it's a weird threat to keep being like, you should go to Gaza. Guess what? That's what a lot of the weirdest homophobes on a lot of social media would say to me whenever I would stand up for these issues. They'd be like, yeah, they'd kill you there, F-slur. And then it's like, Jesus Christ. This is such a, like, you know, pathetic attempt at a thinly veiled threat to be like, why don't you go to the place that is getting mass starvation and bombing every single day, that has no resources, that you see basically war crimes play out on your screen every day? Why don't you go there? Why don't you go there? It's like saying to someone, why don't you stand in front of a gun? Like, what a fucked up thing to reference. Oh, he won't go. Yeah, he's fucking fake. He fucking, you know, that guy's a fake. He doesn't want to go where daily people are getting bombed to death. Where, like, a lot of mainstream media with press credentials aren't allowed into that territory because they will die. They know not to go there because they will get struck by a fucking missile.
About the cause.
It's been performed exquisitely. Harassing one person and seamlessly transitioning into harassing another one. If anyone's been watching for the past fucking year, I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hasan.
Like, people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with Denims. Denims is streaming this story about our kid
I'll show that, yeah.
getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this take, this position from anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people's shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say something to Denims? Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys wouldn't like if we said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want. We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have.
I gotta be honest, I didn't know where he'd be coming at this from, like which angle, and this might be a lane that he's actually particularly savvy in, which is just like, I'm going to explain this in really simple terms, just the ones that I think anyone can agree with. If this was what you call it, friendships and dynamics between them and things falling apart, then you'd realize that you're just being dicks. Like, I don't want to overcomplicate this. I just want to be very frank with you. If there were multiple groups of people, if someone from outside of our groups was witnessing this, or if you told a third party, like a therapist, if you told a therapist all the dynamics that are going down, most likely they would be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I've got my official prognosis here. You're being dicks. This is you being dicks. You're being massive ass dicks right now. You're being dicks online. Dicks to every single person that you know, actually. And you're treating them all like assholes. Yeah, dicks and assholes is basically what's happening.
Been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for
but
saying
that would be commendable.
And by the way, it kind of speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is claimed, they're actually good people, like that's going to get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's
Yes, it
difficult
does.
and standing by your principles. That's the whole point. That's what makes standing by your principles admirable, is that it's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are? I get, like, we're a little bit past directly naming me, so we might...
Main character vibes with Ethan. Well, yeah, I think that's also what's accelerated everything, is that when he went down this pathway, one in which, like, even his own audience was kind of like, we don't want to do, like, you know, Hasan coverage every day, and this seems like such a one-sided beef, or one person is just constantly antagonizing the other with, like, a significantly large platform. Like, you can't ignore it when someone, like, you know, someone across the street from you has a megaphone and is just screaming all day, like, look at me, pay attention to me, you must look at me. Eventually you're gonna be like, yeah, what the fuck? I'm here. What do you want? Oh, hi. I miss you. Like,
might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles. Now we're going to talk about the BDS list. We're going to start off with Frogan because obviously this is like as bad as it gets. If you're following Frogan, that can only mean that you're anti-Ethan. Oh, this is not a good start. Love of the H3 podcast. you are following Frogan, so that means that you are anti-Ethan. Sam, Morg Pie, friend of the show. Olivia, Ian, Daily Dose of Internet is anti-Ethan? Jesus, this is fucked up. Pokimane, comment etiquette. Oh shit, Asmongold's in here? Asmongold follows Frogan? No, Asmon! That means you're anti-Ethan. That's fucked up. We're gonna wanna avoid these creators at the top of the list, but one tier below them are the creators who associate with them. They're essentially endorsing all of their statements. You got me, you got Anissa, I think Hassan's in there. You'd think that Hasan would be on the top of the BDS list, but that's not the case. Hasan provides additional value for people. Ethan can turn a blind eye to people collaborating with Hasan because that's what he did. You gotta be the lowest of the low to be associating with the Frogans and the Denims of the world. To associate with Hasan, that just makes sense because he's famous and he's got a massive fan base. Also, Ethan still follows Hasan on
That applies to Denims now too. Like Denims blew up.
Instagram, so Hasan is in his feed.
And that's showing up right up on us Nissa's and iDubbbz feed.
It's important to remember that this is a living document and people can be removed or put onto it depending on how Ethan's feeling that day. You have this other tier of creators that exist below Hasan but are still anti-Ethan. But Ethan really doesn't want to bring your attention to these ones because it's kind of unpopular, you know? A lot of them are famous. It's no coincidence that Ethan stays silent when these powerful, popular men are supporting Hasan. It's because Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians because they have power, they're quick, and I think he knows that they don't fuck with his ideology. But he's gonna keep that to himself because the last thing that he wants to discover is that people that he respects and looks up to, they don't fuck with him.
Bill Burr came on. It was like the worst fucking show. It was just horrible. That was like my lowest moment on podcast history. We could talk about Bill Burr, ruined my life. Bill Burr made Ethan go on Lexapro. I was prescribed it and it was in my bedside. And then it was the Bill Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hasan's stream and he mocks your content nuke.
I actually saw a really interesting video about you, man, and I don't know that I'm even comfortable being here anymore.
Oh no.
It really kind of shed light on you in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of like have leftist politics and stuff like that, and I actually feel betrayed.
Yeah,
and so I'm actually just here to let you know this is the last time I'm ever coming.
You don't fire back because you're coping. So you're just gonna tuck your tail between your legs and never mention on your podcast that mentions everything. You're bringing up some fucking connection I have on Twitter. Someone mocks you on a stream, you're not touching it. Fuck you, you're a coward. It's just his job. It's just what he does for his job. You know, he doesn't mean it. We're actually good friends. You know, he makes fun of everyone. It's not just me, right? Oh, also, I can't forget about Matt Lieb. Matt Lieb is in this like middle tier. His valuable association is Rhapp and Link. So Rhapp and Link, conveniently, are also in this category of popular and powerful men who Ethan does not want to burn bridges with. Although, he's sniffing around.
This guy, Matt Lieb, he works for Good Mythical Morning. Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, who apparently is a producer for Good Mythical Morning. Well, this guy works for...
If you don't know, he's one of the co-hosts of Bad Hasbara, the podcast, and Ethan has not been too fond of that particular show, probably because it is a very in favor of Palestinian liberation podcast, and it makes Ethan's life a little more complex. But you know what's interesting is he realized, here's a way for me to go after another monstrously huge channel, Good Mythical Morning, which yes, Matt works for. That's his day job. That's what he does. And so now all of a sudden it's like, well, I mean, Good Mythical Morning, do you sign off on every single one of his side projects? Do you sign off on the Bad Hasbara podcast? And why do you think it's okay for someone who works for you on your staff to just go off and say whatever they want? I mean, that'd be like people going after Ethan's staff members who say things like Free Palestine.
Good Mythical Morning acting like he's wholesome, and he's bringing on somebody that wants to kill my wife or in a video game. And I think he should be fired, frankly. And I hope he is fired. He's pathetic. And he interviewed a fucking, basically a terrorist.
I think Ethan only respects power right now, which is one of the reasons I made this video in the first place, is because he thinks I'm weak. He thinks a lot of these other creators that he's gone out of his way to attack, he thinks that they're weak, and he thinks they're a target that he can bully, he can manipulate, he can send lawsuits to. And I want him to know that we're not going to be bullied. You're being a piece of shit, and we're going to call you out.
So here's the button. You've got a video and you've got an audio. We're hitting both.
That was fine. Yeah, I don't think it was that.
That was fine.
Big a deal.
Hey.
Of all the things that
Anywho.
it always surprises me what you think crosses the
Yeah.
line.
Well, I looked at Olivia and she's like, yes, do it.
Now let's talk about the button. Ethan got this button, or kill switch, as a response to the controversy with Cutie Cinderella. He was not able to control himself in that moment, and instead of figuring out how he can change his behavior, he spent $20,000.
Dan and Ela were like, we would kill button that right now if we could. I can't change who I am.
I know. That's why the kill button is on its way.
That's it. See, exactly.
Wait. $20,000? That's how much they spent on that? It's just not a thing I've ever had to look into. Like, you know, not that none of us are above saying stuff we regret. I'm just saying I didn't know it was a $20,000 tool that you needed. a kill switch. All right, interesting.
He used.
By the way, if you don't know, that clip that was blurred, that was someone crying because they felt violated by finding out someone had made AI pornography about them. And like, it's just such a profoundly grotesque thing for Ethan to pull up. And then that's what he just couldn't control himself at, was laughing as she was crying about finding that out. Like, I think once again, this goes back to maybe this is something that you should be dealing with behind the scenes. You can just consider it like a workplace hazard then. If you genuinely, you're in such a mind frame that, like, yeah, you're going to do something that morbid that you're going to be like, well, you know, it's impossible for me to try and have basic human empathy and be a better person about this. So instead, there is a solution. It's $20,000, but I have a little button beside me that I can push when things just go too far. You know, when I say the naughty words, or I get a little misogynistic and angry.
This is the button for everything. If his jokes don't land, he's hitting the button.
It was being presented as if the Jordan crying thing.
I hit the button.
Why?
I don't think I needed to, but you guys were giving me crickets, so I panicked.
If he's insecure about getting something wrong, he's hitting the button.
But okay.
You
what? Button for that? What on this frame could Ethan have responded to? Perhaps the country flag that he got wrong? Maybe. I don't know.
If he goes on a problematic tirade, he's hitting the button.
Before, look how sad. But yeah, it's not just that. Like their eyes are like big. I think you guys are wrong on this one. I think you guys are all wrong on this one.
I don't think he's unique in hitting the button.
God.
I think if all of us had buttons, we'd hit the button all the time. But if you don't have it, you operate differently. You think about what you're saying. You maybe plan for your show a little bit more. You maybe say, I'm not going to have my podcast be an emotional dumping ground for today. You instead say, ooh, it's important that we stay on topic. Also, the H3 community and Ethan himself use the phrase goblin mode all the time to excuse a lot of his shitty behavior or make it seem less bad.
I've been diagnosed with goblin mode, actually.
By claiming that what happens is he just gets into this like uncontrolled state he refers to as goblin mode.
I do not call myself goblin mode.
Juniper invented that term, which unfortunately was stolen by one Elon Musk, and then got popularized on the internet. Elon Musk is one to steal that kind of stuff. Yeah, but shout out to Western Kabuki. So that's a pretty neat term, but not a good thing to describe the fact that you just get into uncontrollable fits of bigotry. I would go talk to someone about that, you know. Luckily, the technology exists. For the small fee of $20,000, I can avoid saying things I'll deeply regret for the rest of my life. Live on air in front of a stadium full of people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what you did.
Goblin mode? Is that what you're calling Tourette's now?
To all victims of Goblin Mode, I would like to issue an apology.
Well, he
You
got
are
that.
Goblin mode today. You're Goblin mode. Look how many times you paused. The
I'm
fucking
trying,
video.
bro.
And I don't think there's no room for using the term goblin mode. I like the idea that you're defending yourself and the little guy by going goblin mode when a big corporation or a big entity is trying to attack you.
Like, if you fuck me over, if you steal money from me, if you patronize me, if you do any of this shit like you're trying to do to me, to treat me like a fucking idiot, I'm crazy, dude. I've gone fucking goblin mode over way less.
But you not thinking about what you're saying, not, reflecting on your behavior, not changing your behavior, that's not goblin mode. That's being a child. Let's talk about the crew. I think the crew has been put in the worst working environment that you possibly can be for a fucking podcast. Every crew member has it bad. To be around Ethan, period, would be a nightmare right now.
I'm standing by every fucking syllable of that, okay? What she did was abhorrent. And by the way,
Just don't. Listen, your critique of her is correct. It's just, people are sensitive about women being called that word. And so...
like, how pathetic are you? You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm not assuming...
By the way, yeah, fair enough. They're like his employees, but like, it's not just about people being sensitive. It's like, it's pretty fucked up and gross what he's doing in real time, Like, it sucks that you have to have people surrounding you and the kill switch available to be able to like filter out the fact that maybe you should show more human decency in general, right? Like empathy, that, for example, like not just directly targeting anyone who critiques your, I don't know, pro-genocidal takes, like people who are like, hey, by the way, we have a lot of problems with the things that you were saying in relation to a lot of war criminals right now. That's what I'm upset about. And then respond with, well, I mean, we're going to destroy you. I have to go goblin mode now. Yes. Oh, hold on. I shouldn't have said that. Beep. I'm going to do a thing about taking care of this problem so that it doesn't exist anymore. It's like, oh, goblin mode. Oh, shit. Beep. Like, all right. Something's gonna happen. You just wait.
His pronouns. And fuck all these people. Okay. Go ahead.
No,
and I'm not yelling at you. I'm just... Kelly is a black woman, right?
Yes.
Maziel is a...
Korean.
Oh, Dan, come on. You're being such a buzzkill. Yeah, I didn't know Korean. I asked if Koreans are POC. God.
Dan's in the bathroom. Let's just not do this right now.
I asked if Korean people are POCs.
The one time the button didn't work.
Like, Jesus. Again, what? I think it's indicative of a bigger problem. Just maybe go outside and start learning. Like, you don't need to stream every day. You can take a couple days, weeks, maybe even months off. Spend a little time getting to iron out a lot of the things that you were trying to discover in real time live on air. I think that's one of the biggest things, right? Yeah, goblin mode, just going full bigot. I'm like, hey, come on. Like, I remember one of the bigger controversies that Ethan had in the kind of like, post Black Lives Matter, he's, trying to become a better person phase, was that he was talking about gay people in a different light and tone, and they no longer were basically the end and butt of every single joke that he was making. And then all of a sudden he was just like, yeah, I know, but like, tops and bottoms, they're like the guys, like, do they wash? That's I just like, I don't understand it. How does it work? Are they like, covered in poo and like shit like that? And then like had to have a fan call in who is basically like, like, hey, by the way, huge fan of the show. I'm gay myself. I just want to tell you all that, like, it's really offensive what you're talking about. Like, you shouldn't be just, spreading weird homophobic stereotypes. He's like, no, I'm not trying to be homophobic. I'm an ally. And they were all getting like so frustrated at that. And I was like, you could have, again, I don't know, taken a little time just before you started talking about this issue to look up some, I don't know, common tropes or maybe some fucked up things that people are trying to avoid doing in today's day and age.
And we listened to how he spoke to AB without thinking that the internet was going to hear it. It was rude, it was nasty, and it didn't have this caveat of like, I'm not mad at you. It was anger, and it was uncalled for.
Use they get access to cover most of it.
We're doing it.
What are
Making
you
it
doing?
so awkward and terrible.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Just like this is what I'm talking about when it's always like.
We need to get home for our kids.
It's like, bro.
Oh no, I didn't want to finish it right now. I just I'm about finishing Wednesday.
On Friday, maybe. Is it? You guys like.
All right, I'm taking my hand off the. What? Okay, well.
Heard all that.
Thanks, button.
And he didn't want to take accountability for it. He immediately wanted to deflect, and he wanted to say that the button fucked him.
First of all, I appreciate the hard work.
I know
you've
you do.
done, and I loved it, and I really enjoy it. But it's like every time we do it, it's like the show is what it is, and
I know.
it makes it.
I was being selfish.
No, dude, that button f***ed me, dude. Can you imagine that button f***ing me over like that?
The button fucked you? AD fucked you? Who fucked you? You fucked yourself by being an asshole. He makes it seem like he's not a tyrant of a boss.
We're doing it.
What are you doing?
So awkward and terrible. I appreciate the hard work.
I know
you've
you do.
done, and I loved it, and I really enjoy it.
Dan, his producer, is.
Yeah, well, that's shady as fuck. Like when you're live and the cameras are on, all of a sudden it's like, no, I love you. You guys are amazing. You're fantastic. Is it over? Is it over? Yeah, okay. I'm going to kill every single one of you. Oh, no, we're still live with kisses and love because I love you so much and the show wouldn't be the same without you. Can I make sure the button is working?
Constantly clarifying things on the air and making it clear that what Ethan said was a joke. Ethan is being overly defensive, or he's saying things that are like not true and he's exaggerating.
People saw that. They thought that was what you searched to
I did
pull
not
up that photo. So I'm just clarifying.
Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate you doing that. God forbid.
It's okay because I buttoned it.
Why?
Because
it's not that big of a deal, man.
Just
Like,
your
how
inability to.
No. Hold on, Dan. How does it change anything? People knowing that we did it.
It's fun when it's a surprise.
Okay, well,
Well, you just asked how it changed
Surprise
things.
them on your show.
Okay, all right.
You know, I understand that that's his role, and he's, Ethan's made that his job, or Dan's made it his job. Ethan leans on it so heavily, in the same way that he leans on the button. Ethan is leaning on all of these people to be adults and look after his behavior and give all of this emotional and empathetic energy for Ethan, but Ethan refuses to give it back to them. Also, let's talk about AB and Lena, 2 Lebanese employees, and you just continue to talk about the conflict like they don't exist. It would be nicer, a lot nicer, for you to shut the fuck up about it. You're allowed to do that.
Hezbollah in Syria alone killed double that much.
Oh my God.
All right, I'm going to move on. I just want to play Hasan talking about bad empanada.
Ethan doesn't want to change, and he wants to bring the entire crew down with him because he's putting them in this position every day, right? But it's more important that he gets this shit off his chest. It's more important that he dumps. We're all familiar with Goblin mode. Well, Ethan debuted a new mode recently.
And by the way, my ratio is pretty good. Like, I'm looking at like 20 Goblin modes to 1 too far. Demon mode, let's call it.
What makes demon mode different than goblin mode is goblins aren't really like an intimidating, powerful force. If the goblin is persistent, it can get what it wants.
When I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full attention is going to you, George. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach.
Ethan, the reason the internet got behind you when you were being sued by Matt Haas or when you were being sued by Ryan Kavanaugh is because people saw you as the underdog. They saw you as the guy who's defending the common man.
I'm suing, and I cannot wait for you guys to read it. At the moment, we are writing 3 complaints for 3 people.
You are doing the classic rich asshole thing. You have a deficit of friends, you have a surplus of enemies. You feel really bad, you feel hurt, but you also have a surplus of money. So what can you do? You can use that money to bully and intimidate people. These public legal threats that you're making to fellow creators, these legal threats that you're making to people on Reddit, on Twitter, you're like, I'm hurt. These people are hurting me. What do I do to stop it? There's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm powerless. No, you have a ton of power, you have a ton of options, you have a ton of choice. That's exactly what you get for being filthy rich, is you can do all of these things.
I've never want to sue someone for defamation, but like at what point do you kind of fucking have to? I mean, this is like basically someone calling you a pedophile. Be like, yeah, you know, Ethan's a pedophile.
Dan Clancy or whatever, like the CEO of Twitch, and being
Pedophile. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite. There are certain things you can accuse people of that rise above to make it like actionable, which is like wrongfully accusing someone of being a pedophile, a sex criminal, a murderer, shit like that. Dan Clancy now, in other words, he is a pedophile.
You have so much less to go off of saying that than anybody has about
based
Dream.
on his looks. Just on his basis.
Well, at least you're self-aware.
That's 100% a joke. I have no evidence to conclude that he is.
One of the more notable legal threats that Ethan has sent out recently is against Noah Samson.
I have nothing but vibes to gain, and potentially your money as well. Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I'll garnish your wages. You're going to be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. 26, you know what I mean? Try 46.
Noah made a video that was critical of Ethan and other content creators when they're talking about Israel and Palestine. I mean, the way he's talking about Noah on his podcast is so fucking creepy and weird.
Is this a new thing?
This is a new thing. This happened during the show. Upon initial examination, it seems to check out, and it's not great for young Noah.
Can I say that? Don't say it yet.
I'll say it.
So he's a rape. So of course his standard, I don't know what he's accused of, so I'm not actually going to say, but
Ethan brought on a former partner of Noah to basically just shit talk him and say that he's a bad partner. But that's all that Ethan was able to extract out of it.
you are not accusing him of committing any crimes or doing R-word or anything like that. The accusation is that he's a sleaze.
Absolutely. Noah Samson, as far as I know, is not a rapist.
Fuck you to Noah Samson.
So I guess the whole addressing any of the points that Noah brings up, very specific points, you know, with time codes, with references to newspaper articles that were improperly sourced, or basically you have been doing propaganda for a lot of the IDF talking points, which is pretty well outlined in both videos, by the way. There's a sequel to it too. That's never going to be addressed. But suing him, for sure. Bringing on his exes to try and suggest that he was a sexual assaulter when that was not the accusation that was made. So good job there. I guess we'll be getting to the heart of the argument soon.
Samson, who's not just a liar and a scumbag, but also a creep, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Now let's talk about the left-leaning Democrat.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was suggested to talk to Sam Cedar, a fellow progressive, a guy that Ethan respects and looks up to.
He works with Sam Cedar at the Majority Report. I respect him and what they do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to suggest that he talked to someone who's within the same ethnic group as him.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I urge Ethan to talk to Sam Cedar. There are very thoughtful, very kind anti-Zionist Jews out there that he could talk to. I don't think that I will be able to reach him.
What's the insinuation that I only listen to other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved list of Jews that like agree with me on everything. You know, it doesn't matter if they're Jewish, dude. It doesn't matter if they're fucking Jewish.
I think most Jews.
I don't think Jews at large view it. I don't think that is the.
In what position are you to even say that?
If it's not motivated by myself, it's motivated by Jews against anti-Zionist Jews.
Seriously, how can you speak for my entire ethnic group? I find that really interesting.
Ethan, I don't know what to fucking tell you. This is like step one of having a leftist ideology, is recognizing our race, religion, nationality, all this shit, all shape our experiences as people.
That's the reason why it'd be better served to have this conversation, not with myself, but
with an anti-Zionist Jewish person.
Why does it matter if they're Jewish?
Because I'm not Jewish, and you've said in this conversation that, like, how can you tell me how to feel about the situation?
Yeah, but how is one person a representative of Jews at large? I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
So yes, Ethan, on occasion you might be suggested to talk to someone who has some crossover with you. It doesn't have to be your ethnicity. It could possibly be someone who shares progressive ideology with you. It could possibly be someone who is of your same gender. I think Ethan understands this concept very well. He listened to these women on his show when they told him that he shouldn't be calling women bitches.
This bitch is intolerable. You are such a nasty fucking bitch, Ken.
I don't know if you can call her a bitch though.
She is a bitch. She's a fucking bitch. You're right. I call her a see you next Tuesday.
Listen, you have.
I'm curious, what do Lena and Sam think about it?
I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that it's for the girlies, Ethan. But I
So
agree.
you guys all seem to be
Yeah.
in consensus that
We
it's in
are.
poor form. I think to respect the women here in the room.
Yeah, to run up.
The infantilization of Ethan.
Man, that reminds me of how so many cringe YouTubers were not willing to let the R slur go for so long, and then they were just like, why I've decided to finally reduce my use of the R word. Like, oh, do you want a medal? Like, are you fucking... Why I've decided to become a slightly better person. Yes, no, I want an award for that, because I think I deserve it. Come on, that's big of me. You're welcome, all right?
Ethan Klein is fucking nauseating. He's not a child. He is absolutely capable of looking into Hasan, learning about his politics, interviewing, doing loads of things to figure out where he stands.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things. And for the first time, I noticed an inordinate amount of radical, hardcore leftists. I mean, I thought we were social democrats, not whatever this was. This comment from Hasan really started to sound some alarms in my head. I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership. I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
You made how many episodes with Hasan? Like, this guy made a fucking program with the biggest mega leftist on the platform. Now he's acting like he was...
Oh, I know, and this is also ridiculous, but I was like, is this really where the bar's at? If you want to make one of these, like, hit pieces, and you are just wanting to do it for, I guess, the liberal pro-Israeli crowd, like, I don't understand what specific lane other than that this would appeal to, but sure, talk about how you were deceived by Hasan by doing a show with him when his views were quite unclear. I was never really sure what he was or what he was into. I just had no reference points. There was nothing to base that upon. So I decided to start a political podcast with him.
Tricked, and he was incapable of figuring out what this guy's beliefs were. Bro, I didn't make the fucking leftist program. You did. You made fucking, what, 60 some odd episodes of this shit for hours talking to this guy? You didn't have a problem with any of it until, Ethan talks about being aware of Hasan's 9/11 comments and then sort of leaves it at that. Like it was just a joke. Actually, I think Ethan describes them as edgy moments or jokes.
You might remember him from such classics as...
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
Now, to be clear, I knew about all these edgy and controversial jokes at the time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't...
And now, for the next 2 hours, I will judge.
Jokes,
time to nuke.
Right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hasan a little bit more and found out what his international politics opinions are. But you wouldn't even need to do that. You can look at it online. You're not a victim. You weren't tricked. You made 60 some odd episodes. If you didn't want to go down this route, you shouldn't have done it. But that was...
It's just such a weird cartoonish framing of the whole thing. Like, all right, I have to tell a story. I have to paint a narrative here. How do I go about this? Whoa, what if I was deceived? I thought the entire time I was sitting across from a pro-Democrat liberal when he in fact was a radical Marxist the whole time, hiding his power levels before me, never taking the mask truly off, and then reverse the whole thing and say that he was using leftist dog whistles. Yeah, we can reappropriate the entire storyline.
Your fucking choice. You did it. You are an adult. When Ethan and
so
Hila are
wild.
watching Matt Lieb saying that one state doesn't represent all Jews, they cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
No single person represents all Jews.
I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
No single person represents all Jews, as no single state represents all Jews.
This is another weird thing.
Oh my God.
Israel, this is a lie that I see Hassan and people pander. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf of Judaism. They have never, I don't believe that that's ever been stated. And I don't think Israel ever explains that it's
stated that.
Like, I think Israel says it's a place where Jews can go.
Israel's just a place Jews can go? With that slogan, we might actually have peace. You know, if that's all you're defining Israel as, is a place Jews can go. Like, sure, it sounds like America to me. Like, all right.
I don't think that Israel said they represent all Jews. I don't think that's a stance. We're like, hey, displacing Palestinians is all Jewish people.
Ethan is being so disingenuous here to suggest that he doesn't understand what Matt Lieb is saying. Like, he's making a semantic argument. Like, I don't think Israel has said that it represents every last Jew on the planet. I don't think Israel has claimed that. They're not going to say that their most genocidal behavior represents anything to do with them, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to inexplicably link Israel and Jewishness together, so when they're being criticized, all of a sudden, they have the perfect defense. Oh.
Wow. Seeing this coming from iDubbbz, being said very, very eloquently as well, I think we have normie penetration. I think we have a grand milestone, you know, if you were to track it to a certain point, the fact that it's able to be expressed and explained, and finally, yes, the two should not be forcibly associated with each other. And then you can just use that as some kind of a shield to defend you from criticism of Israel by associating any criticism of Israel with criticism of all Jewish people. And then in turn, not try to do that in the opposite direction. Be like, no, it's not at all the intention of the Israeli government to be an exclusively Jewish state. There are people of multiple backgrounds, ethnicities, and religions who are Israeli citizens, not Palestinians. Like, don't really ask about the West Bank, and we're not going to really get into what's happening at the Gaza Strip right now. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, and that makes it the only, open democracy in the Middle East. So that's pretty impressive.
Oh, another thing I need to mention. There was a tier list. It was called the Who Can Say Habibi tier list. It was presented at TwitchCon as like a panel that was just meant to be lighthearted and fun. And Ethan Klein saw that, and he decided that it was anti-Semitic.
Tier list them, and we're going to need your help to discuss and figure out who can say Habibi and who can't.
And also, we have tiers. We have Arab coded. They ask permission to say Habibi. Like you got like a white guy's like, can I say it? Is it a slur? And then love Sabra, which is they're not Arab coded at all.
Now, when I first saw this tier list, I immediately knew what it was doing. I was like, oh, it's a play on the who has the N-word pass and who doesn't tier list. Granted, Habibi is very different than the N-word, but it is a cultural word amongst Arabic-speaking people and Muslim people. Like, that is a word that's used. Habibi, it means my love. Oh no, don't do that, Habibi. Oh yes, Habibi. You're my Habibi, I'm your Habibi. So yes, it's meant to be a fun way that these Arab content creators can express their Arab culture and be proud of it and happy about it, because it's not like they have massive representation on the platform.
Making a tier list based on race, and nobody has a fucking problem with that. Okay, you have a tier list based on race. Where's the Jewish panel? Where's the Jewish panel? Where at the top it says Jewish. It's a tier list based on Arab to Jew. He's Arab, which is good. That's the best thing you can be on this. That's the best.
I still can't believe this works.
This is racist.
I will say that conveying information through a tier list is not the most effective thing, but Ethan should understand this principle. He did a white slurs tier list with Hasan.
Cracker.
I mean, you know what my take is.
We can't put this as an F. Cracker. I mean, that's got to be at least a D, right?
pale face motherfucker.
Pale face. I mean, again, I think that's an F. Hog.
So hog is my favorite. I use it all the time.
Him and Hasan feel as though they are white guys, so they felt very comfortable talking about white slurs on their tier list.
I think I'm more white than you. What do you think?
I think I'm white. Like, I'm super white.
Can you understand why Arabs might feel comfortable talking about Arab shit?
Connor Mills, thank you for the $5 dono. Thank you for streaming all the time. My roommate just introduced me to your channel. Cannot wait for Red Bar to return. Also, my wife can say Habibi. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, I'm really happy. And big ups to your roommate, because that's fantastic. Yeah, everybody, you heard. Spread the good word. Tell your roommates about the Serfs, and we can deprogram the masses.
On their tier list, Ethan, you're the white guy. You think you're more white than Hasan.
I think I'm more white than you.
So yeah, the white guy can say all the things that he wants, like cracker, but the Arabs can't have their tier list.
I would put him also an Arab. I know Turkish people are different.
Notice how they dropped the premise almost immediately that it's about who can say Habibi. And then it's like, Hasan, okay, actually, he's Arab. We fucking love him. He's dope. He's Arab.
Habibi is an Arabic word. That is an Arabic word, Ethan.
Funny about this whole thing is that they say Habibi in Israel.
It's still so fucked up that this worked, though. You know, and that was at a time when I was starting to get genuinely worried, because I was like, if they can effectively start to weaponize false accusations of anti-Semitism in this way, not only does it do a monstrously huge disservice to actually fighting anti-Semitism, because people are going to be looking in the direction of people who are critical of Israel's genocide specifically. Like, the closer you can associate criticism of Israel with criticism of all Jewish people, the more aggressively you do that, especially if you start implementing policies on the Twitch platform where a lot of, you know, the most popular Arab streamers are being targeted specifically because it's like, oh, well, yeah, they were doing a tier list from Arab to Jew. And then it's like, no, it wasn't. It was people who support Arabs. That was the entire point of the sketch. Written also by a Jewish person, by the way.
Again, people underestimate just how, like, mixed Israeli culture is. Like,
we say Habibi in Israel. Yes, Ethan. Another piece of evidence as to why it isn't anti-Semitic.
This is racist!
If you're not Arab or understand Arab culture at all, which is a lot of Americans, and Ethan Klein presents you this tier list and calls it anti-Semitic, you're just going to eat it up. It's not. Ethan is just proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand Arab culture. There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra. There's a lot of people like me who eat Sabra. A lot of the times it's all that's in the store, and I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna eat it.
No, stop. You had BDS as a sketch earlier. You understand the stakes right now. You can be even better, iDubbbz. Ascend.
But it is not.
Also, it's garbage. So there's much better hummus.
Not the good shit. Like, the average Arab American, they're gonna go in the store and the only option they have is fucking Sabra. And that sucks that that's the only option, right? Arab communities and distribution facilities are not widespread across the US. So what are they left with? They're left with a common, relatable, shitty hummus, which is Sabra. And what's so fucking pathetic about this whole thing is after he was able to get these Arab creators banned off of Twitch for 30 days, he goes on to talk.
Yeah, like Ursula says, it's not hard to make your own hummus. You know, it's a little expensive to buy tahini, but otherwise chickpeas are cheap as fuck. Olive oil, lemon, garlic, salt. Super easy, super delicious, really quick too.
About how bad Sabra hummus is on his show.
I don't think anybody prefers Sabra over homemade, like, restaurant quality hummus. You know, it's what's there.
Like weirdly fluffy.
It is
Sabra.
fluffy.
Weird.
Yeah.
I would buy it sometimes and eat it. It's not the best.
The problem is with Sabra, in my opinion, it's only good for the first 2 days.
For some reason, like, when you eat this Sabra shit, it just feels so much heavier. Imagine eating a whole fucking vat of Sabra. That's crazy.
Yeah. I've never liked hummus.
Oh, okay.
Well, you hate Jews then.
I don't.
And Arabs.
Yeah.
This is racist.
Yeah, it's almost like you can have a discussion about Sabra hummus being a bad hummus without it being at all related to a Jewish thing or an Israeli thing. He can have that discussion as much as he wants on his podcast because we all know his intentions aren't anti-Semitic.
This is what he did. He hit his heart hard.
The Zionism is leading to not accepting other cultures, embracing their own culture, and instead thinking that that is an attack on you. There's this incident on the podcast where They were reacting to Cutie Cinderella, and Ethan was laughing during it. So that ended up being a pretty important wake-up call for Ethan. He made an apology video directed at Cutie Cinderella, and it was graded by a professional psychologist, Dr. Kirk Honda of Psychology in Seattle, and Ethan got an A+ rating.
In terms of a public apology, this is A+.
Ethan won't...
I didn't even know that was a thing. Wow. So what did Colleen Ballinger get? I'm just curious. I need a bar, all right? Is that an F? Like is that the lowest possible rating?
Stop talking about his A+ rating.
You know he rated my apology to Cutie Cinderella a perfect score? A perfect 10.
A perfect 10 out of 10?
Literally 10 out of 10. Go back. I can teach you how to make a good apology. I'm the best at
10 out of 10.
I know what a perfect apology is, lady. You fucking don't. Is my perfect apology in this PowerPoint? Dude, I got a perfect 10 out of 10. This one is actually best apology, so. Ethan Klein, you guys, oh my God.
I was trying really hard to think about an impactful moment during this video. Like, could I do something that would really wake Ethan up? And I don't know if this came from a good place or not, but I came up with the idea of getting Ethan's grade changed from an A to a B at least. So I went to visit Psychology in Seattle. I'm not confident that Kirk will change his grade, but it's worth trying, and you know, we might learn a thing or two.
Xander! Probably get pretty low marks. Unlike me, perfect score, 10.
I said, hey, Lud, no wig drama. Why are you such a spineless coward of a person now that you've inserted yourself and your girlfriend into this conversation?
Okay, iDubbbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I guess have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology.
This is classic. This is the old internet, you know? You just go back in and be like, so I did something a little bit uncouth and wacky. I think you're going to enjoy it. Bravo.
Apology as I see it, without taking any consideration of prior or future behavior. If you're wanting me to comment on the overall behavior or the recent behavior from the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person, and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize. And I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
Oh, bro! Oh, I was really hoping you would throw in and F-.
This guy stinks! Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade. But that's okay, because this is the internet. Anyone can have their own official apology rating system. So I'm going to rate Ethan's apology a B-. That's just based on my own feelings and my own rubric. When Psychology in Seattle was watching these video clips of Ethan, he said that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. Now, of course, it kind of pisses me off to hear that shit, because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. I think something that's very important to me in bringing back Content Cop is to be fair. I think that was something that was not illustrated in previous Content Cops that I think should have been, and probably wouldn't have left me with so much regret. Ethan deserves all of the criticism that he's getting. I think it's very valid. But I also think, at the end of the day, we should acknowledge that he's human, because he is human. And he is in a situation that's making him extremely scared, paranoid, defensive, sensitive, and I'm sure other features and feelings. In the spirit of Kirk saying that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug, I have challenged some of his most powerful haters to put down the haterade and just say something nice and charitable about him, because I think he deserves it.
I just wanted to say that I respect that you are genuinely yourself on the internet. I think a lot of other people respect you for it as well. I think that's a big reason why people were drawn to your content in the first place. I think that's a lot of the reason why your employees chose to work with you over anyone else.
Ethan, I think it's respectable that you even began this journey to leave behind the anti-SJW crowd and step into a more empathetic worldview. I know it's not easy.
Wait, are we like wholesome maxine right now? Is that what's taking place? Are we fighting evil with love? Care Bear style? You know, where they all like clasp hands with one another and then like love literally emanates from their bellies and just sprays the walls of the room? Are we doing that? Is that... It's different. I'm used to all the hate, you know, and I've just been feeling brimming this entire time. It's almost been an hour full of full hate.
Ethan Klein, I think that when you are being goofy, when you're being silly, when you are being lighthearted, and just having fun with your friends, I think that is when you're at your best. So I'd love to see more of that. That'd be sick.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports brigade that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stung. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
I think Ethan Klein rocks a buzz cut pretty good, and I think he's got a good choice of facial hair. I think it's really cool what he did 8 years ago, fighting that frivolous lawsuit. That was pretty fucked up, and fighting it, you know, he changed YouTube for the better, and I thought that was cool because I thought it was like he was fighting for free speech.
You know, I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Neil.
That's really funny. Yep. And I hope he decides to drop any existing lawsuits in the spirit of happiness and friendship.
It's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them.
And I have been kind of slipping.
iDubbbz also leading by example. He went and got therapy, so there's that as well. You know, a couple more points.
Into a very unhealthy place where it's gotten worse and worse, and I get criticized more and more, and I get more defensive and more pulled up. A feeling of almost infallibility that I could take anything on. It led me to make a lot of mistakes. And then when I was criticized for those mistakes, then I would act extremely defensive and nasty and not really processing them in a healthy way.
Oh, that's it. All right. That was surprisingly pleasant. Well done, iDubbbz. I give you a dub, sir. That was really good. Yeah. Yeah, I like, honestly, of all the ways he could have approached this, I'm actually really impressed that he chose one that I think he was really strong suited to, which is basically just speaking normie. just being like, I just want to talk to you about this. Like, if we imagine we were all in high school, you're being a really shitty friend and other people are like, you're being shitty, and then you're doubling down and saying they're all evil and they have to be destroyed, and then they're like, well, that's shitty too, and then you go back and then you're like, haha, and then any of their friends have to be destroyed as well, or other people who have hosted them, or people who know who they are and don't critique them are also our enemies. You are all our enemies and must be destroyed. And then it's like, yeah, it's kind of a dick move. It's really shitty of you. And honestly, obviously, I think I think you should pair this, you know, how there's like sommeliers who are like, oh, you'll need a fine Pinot Gris to mix with this meat. I think this is best paired with Noah Samson's video on Ethan Klein, because he really contextualizes the entire thing by separating it from its drama, giving it kind of like, you know, a little operation to be like, we can put this over here, put this over here, and now upon closer inspection, yeah, this is really gross genocide apologia, and we should actually speak about that, because that's pretty fucked up. That's important, and I think it's also important for people to realize, just on a surface level, that yes, they are also crashing out, and they're doing it publicly, and honestly, therapy could have helped them a lot, I think, along the way, and still can. You can still avoid doing a response to the response to the response, and instead go seek therapy. Yeah, you can afford so many therapists. You can each afford to have your own. You can even afford a doggy therapist. You could have an entire a team of therapists just helping everybody out, and then maybe it'll be a little bit less aggressive next time you return and make a video about this. So yeah.
Don't let this happen to you. Go to serfscoffee.com to order the only end-to-end owned indigenous coffee company that delivers blood-free, conflict-free, and cruelty-free beans right to your door. 0% of people who drink serfscoffee.com have exploded spontaneously. By ordering right now, you get 10% off plus free shipping, and it's the best way to enjoy delicious coffee while not exploding. That's serfscoffee.com, serfscoffee.com.
Hey, if you'd like to unlock secret bonus episodes as well as uncensored content, go to patreon.com/theserfs. This show is produced by Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Puppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Travis McClinton, Trincell, Words Greenwood, with additional support coming from all of these amazing human beings right here.